Hi guys, welcome to episode 156, Clangin and Bangin with Mikey. And man, we made it to New Year's Eve. Wild. Um, it's always interesting this time of year, man. Starting with Christmas and heading into the New Year, I just kind of reflect on everything that I've been through. The, you know, this past year, good, bad, ugly, whatever. And I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. It's interesting. As I get older, I realize it's like, I'm not really a people person, and what I mean by that is like, I don't feel the need to fill the space with nonsensical conversation or just nonsense in general. And I've probably been like that since around age 25 or so. Um, I don't know. It's like I was joking with my mom the other day. I said, "Yeah, I said, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but I'm turning into dad as I get older." Um, and she goes, "She's, I hope not." I was like, "No, I mean, it's like because I have some of his mannerisms too, where like if I don't care about something, I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay. And if it's nonsense to me, it's whatever, right? What I mean by that is like I'm not gonna not show interest in something that somebody else is interested in. But if it's like, if it's a game show, a sporting event, whatever, I'm like whatever. It like doesn't really matter to me, right? And I'm not one of them dudes, who's a grown ass man who gets all flustered because his team lost, you know. I'm not one of them dudes, who gets hung up on a girl just simply because, oh, well, like she was the one. Like, no, nigga, she was the one right now. That's all she was. And speaking about that, it's interesting, man. When you stop looking for something, when you stop trying to look for something, shit just kind of happens to not really fall in your lap, but kind of falls in your lap. What I mean by that is like you don't have to force anything. I've literally had women tell me like, "Yo, like you a whole vibe." Be like, "How are you like single?" It's like and everything, right? Like, yo, I just haven't found the one that I want to take myself off the market for. I mean, there's a lot of great one night stands. There's a lot of great situationships, but nah, when it comes to this, they ain't got it. And for me, it's like I don't know. I guess it's just because I'm a competitive bodybuilder and I literally leave no stone unturned. Um, the other week I was in the gym and this one competitor that I know, um, she was bullshitting her reps. I think she was doing, she was doing uh, farmer walks or lunges or whatever it was. And she, this is where she thought she was slick, right? She would do the set walking the opposite way, and then you come back and you have to complete the set, right? So you got to do the lunges, going, and coming and going. And her coach, he was helping somebody else with something at the moment, like spotting them. I don't know what they were doing, and so she does the lunges, and then she starts walking back, and then the coach turns around and sees that she's not doing the lunges. And he was like, "Yo, like, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, I was doing the lunges the entire time." And I'm like, nah, bruh, nah. Because for me, it's like, if you're gonna do that, cheat yourself. Out of something that you signed up for, the training that you signed up for. Everything that we do, you know, for the most part, is voluntary. you know, when you really think about it. And I seen that and I kind of just shook my head. I'm like, I don't I don't understand that. It's like You want to become a pro, you want to do all this shit, but it's like you won't even do the simple things. You won't even complete a fucking rep, or an exercise correctly, And it's like I just looked at them like, yeah, I can't really fuck with that, you know. I'm not saying that this individual is a bad person. I don't think they're a bad person. But if you're gonna cheat yourself like that over something that you signed up for, what you gonna do when shit really gets difficult? Because we talking about fucking body lunges, bro. Or farmer walks, or whatever the fuck she was doing. We're talking about that. Like, how is that difficult? It's not difficult, you know. It's only difficult if you have a physical disability and you can't. You're doing a full range of motion. But yeah, yeah, man. It's like I just look at shit like that, and I look at situations where a lot of us want to be in control, and we don't know how to be in control. What I mean by that is like everybody wants to control everything else around them. It's like, yo, you realize you can only control yourself, right? Um, it's like 50 Cent. He did an interview with I think DJ Envy and somebody else a while back, and he was talking about when he got shot. He was like, yo, like when I got shot, it's like that changes you. It's like as a traumatic experience, it's like either that hardens you or either no, my bad. What did he said? Either what did he say? He said either that either you succumb to your fear or it makes you a little bit insensitive. And he's like, it hardened me a bit because he's like, I knew that, hey, I'm not in control of this. I could die at any day. And mind you, this guy did not get shot at 9 times. He got shot 9 times. Anybody who gets shot once would be traumatic. Imagine you got 9 bullet holes in you. Like these niggas tried to kill him. You know? And or any type of traumatic, experience that you go through. Any type of situation where you're emotionally vulnerable. It changes you. It makes you harder. It makes you insensitive. To a point. Because you guys know my situation and everything too. And I'm never gonna back down and not say what happened. I'm never not gonna say the truth. I'm never not gonna take self accountability for it. Like I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh well, she did this X, Y, and Z. Like, nah, partner, but I enabled the whole thing. I let it happen. I had an active role in it. You know, Instead of me checking the red flags in the beginning, I thought that shit was sweet because look, hey, look, nigga was getting ass. Nigga was getting this, nigga was getting that. Boom, 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 right? And you can't complain either party. You can't complain when you present yourself that way and then you get dealt the hand you dealt with, right? My father had this expression. He said, man, just because you dealt the hand you dealt with doesn't mean you can't change everything. Doesn't mean you can't change in the deck for some, a new cards. What he was saying was that just because you dealt the hand doesn't mean you can't change it up. He's like, and just because everybody else around you doing the same shit, it doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing. My father, he was very philosophical to a point, right? And he would always try to test my mental, and he'd be like, "Hey, man," he's like, "Yo, like, don't be trying to be psychological with me or philosophical with me." That's what he would always say, and and he would always say that because he could always see the wheels turning in my head. I was always thinking, his baby boy was always thinking, and a lot of the times, man, it's like I was learning through trial and error a lot of the times, and I didn't really understand how to ask for help. I didn't really understand how to navigate certain things, and as I've got to know that, I realized, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do X, Y, and Z. It's okay to, understand it. If you don't get it, that's fine, but never ever sit there and be like, oh well, I don't know what to do, so I don't know how to ask for help. Boom, 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 and it went back to what my dad told me when I wasn't the greatest student, right? And I mean, not that I mean, yeah, I wasn't a great student. I was never in danger of flunking out of school or whatever it was. I just wasn't a good student. And my dad told me something when I was in grade school. He's like, yo, he's like, if you don't understand something, man, ask questions, bro. He's like, understand that, you're responsible for your own learning. He's like, the teacher can't sit here and make sure that you understand the material. He or she can't do that. But what you can do, is ask questions and keep asking questions till you understand it. Don't sit there and be like, yeah, I got it, boom, 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 and like you don't understand shit. Like it took me a long time to realize that, because like I said, I wasn't the greatest student. I didn't know how to ask for help. And and it wasn't until I got into high school where it's like, okay, like yo, if I don't get this right, and the chances of me going to college is pretty fucking slim, right? And so anyway, long story short, um, yeah, that was it. I learned how to be more proactive. I learned how to be more assertive in my shit. I learned how to be more confident. I told myself, yo, it's okay if you don't know. Go find out. And that's why I'm always looking up the word of the day in my phone. I'm trying to use that in the sentence and everything too. Um, and I try to read a lot of books. I don't read as much as I want to read because I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes your boy be lazy. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's very important to find what you're good at. Number one, number two, find out what you're bad at, and work on those skills too. Um, and that's what I try to do. And as the year comes to an end, I figure, okay, like if I can get X, Y, and Z, um, this is A, B, C, D, and E. This is what I'm good at. But on the flip side, what am I bad at? And not that I'm bad at anything per se, but I have a tendency to be too nonchalant. I come across as overly confident, and not that it's a bad thing, and conceited. And I think a lot of it has to do with my upbringing, and I think a lot of it has to do with I don't like to. I told people straight up, I was like, yo, I don't trust anybody. I keep people at arm's length for a reason. I stiff on them. I call it the Reggie Bush. I give him the Reggie Bush, and that's that. Because not that I don't trust people, it's like I don't trust their actions, their intentions. I'm the type of dude like I'll sit there and I'll peek people's behaviors, you know. And there's certain people I would never ever say anything around because they got a big ass mouth. Or there's certain people I would never ever have a serious conversation with because they don't know how to articulate that, or I'll never sit there and have a conversation with people who don't understand, you know, or who don't have the excuse me, who don't have the mental capacity to understand it. And I think with me is like I've had people tell me straight like, "Yo, like you're actually a really cool dude." I'm like, I know, I just it takes me a while to warm up to people, but once I warm up to you, we cool. Unless you do some fuck shit. You do some fuck shit, you gonna meet the petty nigga in me, and you don't want to meet him. I'm telling you, you don't. And I think that's important to realize that you have two sides of yourself, and not everybody get the same version. There are people who I work with who are hella cool, but I'm never ever grabbing a beer with them after work. There are people who I hang out with in my personal life that um, that's it. Like I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna, introduce you to my family or my close friends, whatever it is. It's like there are people who I grew up with who I no longer associate with simply because it's like, yo, it's like life is taking us in two different paths. You know, it's like, or when people end up in certain situations and they be like, oh, like, no, I can't help you, bro. I'm sorry, because I don't feel the need to get involved in that situation and to sidetrack myself and slow myself down simply because of the situation you put yourself in. You know, call it concedingness, call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think that's something a lot of people don't realize, that it's like, yeah, you can, like, you can sit there and have connections, conversations with people, and that be that. And that's the one thing I gotta work on, man. It's like, I don't, my capacity for bullshit and nonsensical conversation and nonsense is pretty low. Um, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I just look at things like, oh, like, why are we talking about this? What's up? You know, I don't understand it. You know, because I really don't. You know, I don't understand how this is important or how this is going to be impactful to me or whatever it is, right? Or when people bring up the same things over and over and over again in different situations. And I was telling this one person that I know, I was like, yo, and she was telling about her significant other, this and this and that. And I said, oh, okay, that's cool, that's great, but just make sure it's not smoke and mirrors. And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, just make sure it's not smoke and mirrors, because people love to perform for other people. You know, I mean, I don't know the individual, I know her, you know, but I'm just saying, it's like, you know, hey, it's like, yo, just be sure that you know who you dealing with, because it's like I said, a lot of people will change up on you, and for reasons unknown, whatever it is, right? You never really truly know somebody until you know them. It's like my situation with my ex former best friend, the one I caught feelings for, right? I didn't know that she was the way she was until I was stuck in a situation with her, and I'm like, yo, it's like, and there were situations where she was leaving shit out, and I'm finding out after the fact. I'm like, yo, like, why didn't you tell me this thing? Why didn't you tell me all this before, you know, before you told me only half the story, you know? Now I gotta go back and apologize to this other individual simply because you left shit out to make yourself look good. And you want me to trust you from this point on? Like, nah, I'm not doing that, you know? And this other individual, I guess they had crossed paths and whatnot, and they had a whole conversation about me, and my former best friend only told me probably not even half of the story. And so when I called up the other individual, she was like, yo, no, like, no, well, we talked about this, boom, boom. I was like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. Now that makes sense, because it's like, I didn't know what the fuck, you know, was going on, right? And because I only heard a portion of the story. And when this individual told me what it was, I told her, like, hey, you know, hey, my apologies for saying what I said to you earlier. I already knew a portion of the story, but now that I know the whole story, and because you're putting in pieces that make sense, and so it took me a few days, and called my friend back, and I'm like, yo, so she said X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 boom. Why'd you leave that out? Why did you feel the need to omit certain things when she was just simply asking questions? You know, having girl talk, whatever it was, right? I mean, I get it. Maybe she was interested in me. I don't know. Maybe she's trying to see if I was available. I don't know. You know, but my thing is like, yo, it's like, don't don't bring shit up to a nigga and like and expect me not to ask questions about it, or expect me, especially when I say, is that all you guys talked about? And you say, yeah, and I come to find out it wasn't. Like, bitch, why would I trust you? You know, it's like, and you don't really know an individual until you're in a situation like that with them, where it's you dealing with emotions, you dealing with anger, you dealing with, you know, with everything combined into one, right? You know, you don't know what you're dealing with. And it was disheartening because it's like, yo, it's like, here I was being 100% honest with you about pretty much everything, you know? I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't lie. Like, so, yo, I never lied to you, you know? But my thing about it is, like, I'm never ever going to have you blindfolded. Like, what you see with Mikey is what you get, man. It's like, it's like, a nigga's never, I'm never not going to have you in these fucking streets looking stupid, bro. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not, you know? And I think with her is like, she was trying so hard to, I guess, play both sides of the fence. So like, yo, it was like, it don't matter, And that's the type of shit that I realized is like, yo, it's like, you gotta recognize the signs and you gotta move accordingly. Whatever red flag in the beginning that you see pop up, address it. Address that red flag and keep it pushing. Because if you don't address it, that means you like it, and you can't complain about it after the fact. I've been in situations where exactly that. It's like, yo, red flags pop up. Nobody addresses the shit. And towards the end, the other individual, she wants to be like, well, all you do is X, Y, and Z. Like, that wasn't an issue then. Why the fuck is it an issue now? Like, what's up? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of shit that people don't want to say because, they don't want to ruin the attention that they're getting or whatever it is. Like, no, just fucking be honest about it. Be honest about it, be upfront about it, and understand that it's like the other person will most likely make changes too. If you address it early on in the relationship or the situation that you're in, people can move accordingly. It's like you can't sit there and be like, oh, I don't like it when you do this. Bitch, I've been doing it for 6 months. What the fuck you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Or I don't like it when you do X, Y, and Z. Again, I've been doing it for months. What the fuck's the issue? So it's just a lot of shit because I'd rather have somebody speak up and tell me what they don't like. That way I can change it. Because I tell people straight up, like, yo, I can't read. I tell women all the time, I can't read your fucking mind. I can't read your mind. So if there's something that bothers you and something that makes you uncomfortable, fucking tell me. You know what I mean? Communicate with me. Because, I'm not that hard to communicate with. I'm definitely not hard to get a hold of. I'm not hard to have a conversation with, but at the same time, I can't sit there and adjust my behavior if I don't know there's anything wrong. So, that's all. But yeah, on a lighter note, man, we are actually, I am still working on Scorpio times Scorpio. I got a couple of tracks done. I haven't decided if this is going to be a 15 track, a 20 track album. Most likely it's going to be a 20 track album because I got so much shit in my head, bro, that I just got to get out. Oh yeah, by the way, Joe Budden, that podcast he did with The Pivot, man's legit. It's just, man, music. To wrap this up, man, it saved my life mentally. There are nights where I can sit in this little corner of this little room and just sit here for hours, just messing with sounds, messing with cadences, messing with everything, right? And it's just something that it's just another way to express yourself, man. It's like I can hit this vocal booth and make track after track, and it may not be the best work, but it's my work. It may not be what y'all niggas want to hear, but it's my shit. Because Rick Rubin said it the best, man. We don't make music for the fans. We make music for us. As simple as that. So, be on the lookout. 2024. I have I have 3 projects that are dropping. Um, next year, Scorpio times Scorpio. Digging through my crates of Volume 1 and Volume 2. There might be a third volume of that. I don't know yet. But I haven't figured out when I'm going to release um, each project. Because the projects aren't done yet. But once I do, I think y'all going to like it. You know, it's definitely something that's near and dear to my heart. So anyway, hope y'all have a great New Year's Eve. I hope y'all be safe. I hope y'all, if y'all in about, just be smart. You know, take an Uber, pay the surcharge fee, or you know, have a DD. But y'all, please be safe. You know, and have fun. Bring in the new year the right way, and I'll see y'all next year. Love y'all. And I hope y'all keeping it full of peace, private play, positive pushing. See y'all next year. Ghost.